What's up, pickle peeps? Today we are talking about how to get it done fast in your business because our biggest holdbacks is either not implementing quickly or getting caught up in details and pressures and the voice inside our head that then leads us to not moving forward. So we're going to knock all that aside today with 3 simple steps to moving very, very quickly and getting your projects done in your business. That sound good? Good. Let's go. So number 1 on here, and by the way, I am a chronic, I don't want to say procrastinator, but like I have definitely had my battles with time management and everything that goes along with it. So these methods I'm going to give you, they work. They work. If they can keep my ass straight, then they can keep yours going. So number 1, define the goal or the end result. What is the thing you want to do? Give it a name, give it a title, make it concrete. So I have a couple examples for you here, a business and a not a business example. Number 1, for me, define the goal. I want to move email platforms. Okay, so I'm currently on Klaviyo. I'm going to be switching to Beehive, and that is my end result. I will have my emails be sending out of Beehive, and I will cancel Klaviyo. Cool beans. That's a business example. A secondary example, my sister, because we just went and picked up more chicks today, wanted chickens. And her end goal is she wants chickens because she wants to have farm fresh eggs, she wants to have meat birds, she wants to have a freezer full of poultry. Boom, that is the end result that she wants. Great. So we have business and a non-business example. Number 2, set a deadline. And I'll say, if you don't define your goal, you'll never know if you're going to reach it. And if you're wishy-washy about what your goal is or what the thing that you're trying to do is, then it just gives you more excuses to not do it, right? Okay, so that's defined. Number 2, we're going to set a deadline. Both of my examples here are really easy. If you don't set a deadline for your goal, it is, again, if you're a procrastinator, highly likely it's not going to get done, or it's going to take forever to get there. So set a deadline. Examples for this, easy one on the business side. I said I want to switch over email platforms. Well, I have a really hard line, easy thing to follow for my deadline. I got to get switched before Klaviyo bills me again. Ta-da, right? And that's going to be on Friday, so I have the next few days to finish the migration over to Beehive. If you want to follow through on my sister, oh my God. So chickens, well, she made a deadline. Deadline was she had to get the chickens out of the house. She needed a chicken coop and she needed a run for them and all of that stuff. So she kind of set that deadline when she came home with baby chicks. And we're like, oh shit. Thought we had another month here to finish the coop, but it wasn't a priority because we didn't have chickens. But now she had chicks and the brood in the house. It's like, oh shit, there is a hard deadline because they are going to outgrow that thing and they need to be outside in the run. So set a deadline. And a secondary trick here on deadlines, and just kind of an awareness as you are planning them out and setting them, is to be aware of Parkinson's law. Now, I first came across Parkinson's law reading the book Profit First by Mike McCallowitz, one of my all-time favorite business books. I typically reread it every single year. I haven't this year yet. I probably should. I've probably read it 4 or 5 times now. Easily. And in there, Mike talks about Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law states that, I'm going to say this correctly now, supply will rise to meet demand, something like that. I'm going to take it out of economic terms right there because it's after 11 o'clock at night. But basically, however much you have of something to consume, you will consume all of it. The example Mike gives in the book is toothpaste. When you have a brand new tube of toothpaste, you glob it right on there on the toothbrush, right? You load the toothbrush up. If something falls in the sink, whatever, you just squirt some more on there. I don't like to waste things, and I probably had a shift after learning this principle. However, with that same tube of toothpaste, if you have not a lot left or you're at the end of the tube, you are going to scrape out every minuscule drop of toothpaste in that tube. You're going to get creative for it. You're going to roll it down, you're going to fold it up, you're going to do the slide method. Some people cut the back and push it out that way. Like, you're gonna get every last drop of toothpaste out of that tube, and every last drop is precious, right? Okay, it's the same exact thing with our time. So if you are setting out your project and you're finding your goal and you're setting your deadline, be highly aware that if you set 3 hours to do the task, as long as it's, reasonable for a 3-hour task, you will use all 3 hours. If you set a deadline of 3 days to do a task or allot 3 days, it's gonna take that whole 3 days. If you set 3 weeks, it'll take up 3 weeks, and if you set up 3 months, it's probably gonna take 3 months. Why? Because you're gonna procrastinate. And be like, "I have all this time to do the thing." Whereas you probably could have done in the 3 hours if you set the original goal as 3 hours. So however much time we allow for a project, the likelihood is we're gonna use up all of it. How often do you hear of someone coming in early for a project, getting it done early? It's not very common, and that is because of this Parkinson's law. So I want you to be very aware when you're defining your goal and setting your deadlines that you're making them you don't wanna make them unrealistic, like there's no physical way for that thing to happen in 3 hours or 3 days, or maybe you need 3 weeks for the thing. Um, which we'll break down in our next item here, but just be very, very aware that the longer time span you give yourself, the, more time you will use or waste getting that project done. Which leads us straight into number 3 here, which is my favorite. Once I've defined my goal or set my end result, I've chosen a deadline on here. The next thing I do is hot list it. And this is especially good when I have those 3-hour style deadlines, right? Right. I hot list it, which means I go ahead and break it down into the most basic necessary things that need to happen for my goal to be reached. Okay. And anything else outside of that hot list is fluff and can happen later on. But what are the key specific necessary things that need to happen? My sister with the chickens, she needed the coop dropped, she needed the run built, and finished for the chickens. And in reality, the coop was finished first, so they were in the coop and before they got to go on the run. It was okay. It was really cold outside. Um, Yes. For me, with switching from Klaviyo to Beehive, what are the things I gotta do? I gotta pull my subscribers, my actives from Klaviyo. I gotta get that list going and I gotta import it into Beehive. I need to get any emails that I have scheduled in Klaviyo, any flows and stuff like that, and download them, move them over to Beehive. And the last thing that is like, if it doesn't happen, it won't break me, but it's gonna be damn, damn, damn nice to have, and I really, really should have it, is make sure that I download the stats for all the emails that I've sent out over the past year, right? Like you wanna have that backlog of what you did and know what your numbers are. I'm also like, downloading it is a last resort kind of because I have an email tracking toolkit that I wanna utilize that I'm hoping, like, not hoping, I shouldn't say hope, but allocating the time tomorrow to fill it in so that I can see the results of all my split tests, my open rates, the sales that come in per email. It's like really tracking it and knowing which ones are performing well so I know which ones to duplicate and to continue to send out. So that would be like a hot list item on here is like fill in the tracking toolkit, download the stats. Another hot list item on there for this would be cancel Klaviyo. Make sure they're not gonna bill me again on Friday, okay? So hot list it. Break it down into the key necessary items that must happen. All right. If it's I got a sales email going out, then I need to make sure that I have the graphics. I have to have the email. I set up the sale. Like it's actually the sale is set up on my website, right? Or the product thing, however it's going. And then I send the email, right? And maybe social media is on there too, corresponding social media. So hot list it. What are the foundational, like checkbox process style things you need to get this thing done? And when I talked about right there in email, I don't mean make 10 images that are all gorgeous and nice. Like, no, I need one key image. What is the bare bones, most basic things you need to get this done? That's what we're talking about with a hot list, okay? Boom. So, that's how you get shit done fast. You define the goal or the end result, you set a deadline, keeping in mind Parkinson's law, and you create a hot list. And finally, just like an extra one on here, if you need it, is to declare it. Once you define, this kind of goes into the first one. Once you define that goal, that end result, the thing you want to do, you can go ahead and declare it, get public accountability. The whole point of this, for some people this works, for other people it doesn't. The science is mixed on it. At least the last that I read any science studies on it. But declaring it can either, like, now that other people are aware that you're doing this thing and you have this deadline, they can like call you out on your bullshit, right? Hey, did you do this thing yet? Hey, Melissa, did you launch Viking chickens yet? No, I didn't. That's coming next after this stuff. um, any of that stuff. But people can check in on you when you publicly declare it. So you get public accountability. For some people, that is a mega help. I am in several groups that we meet every single week and we set a goal. Like, this is the thing I'm going to have done by next week. And you have to report back. Did you do it or not? Kind of like that hot list. A bit more generalized. You have a whole week. But still, declaring it. Now, some people have an opposite reaction, and that when you declare out to the public what you're going to do, it's kind of like buying a diet book. Part of your brain is satisfied. It's like, oh, we already did it. Like when you buy a diet book or you buy a treadmill or you buy a gym membership, in your brain, you're already skinny now. You've already lost the weight or gotten whatever result you wanted because you took that first step. Some people have that issue with declaring it. So I leave that one as a bonus. But the first three, they are necessary. Get shit done in your biz fast by defining your goal, setting a deadline, and hot listing it. So if you have any questions, drop them below. If you want to share in your hot list or talk them out, drop them below. I'd love to see what kind of takeaways you have from this video. And if you are liking the content here on the channel, make sure that you subscribe. We are doing daily videos through September 5th. Why? Because I'm in a challenge. What's the defining the goal here? I am in a 100-day sprint for videos, and we have a rule that there are no cheat days. There are 0 cheat days. So 100 days straight of video, set a deadline. It's gonna be, if we follow through and I don't break a day, we'll finish on September 5th, and hot list it. I gotta shoot and I have to publish a video every single day. What's the hot list? I have a whole list of topics that I ignore half of the time. So hot list items: shoot the video, edit the video if I need to, upload the video, create a pretty thumbnail. Boom. That's my hot list items every night for YouTube. Okay, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy!